Imagine a military operation so secretive, so meticulously hidden, that the world didn't even know it existed for 70 years. Entire governments kept it under wraps, and only now are the shocking details coming to light. What happened during this classified mission changed the course of events in ways few people realize, and the soldiers involved risked everything to carry it out. During World War II, most people remember the famous battles and daring offensives, but hidden beneath the surface were operations so secretive that even the men involved were sworn to silence. One such mission remained classified for 7 decades, known only to a select few in the military hierarchy. It involved a small group of soldiers tasked with an almost impossible objective, relying on intelligence, precision, and nerves of steel. Their courage, ingenuity, and determination would not only impact the outcome of the war, but also challenge everything we thought we knew about wartime secrecy. In this video, we uncover the astonishing story of the operation so secret it was classified for 70 years, revealing the dangers, sacrifices, and shocking twists that kept the world in the dark for decades. Asterisk. The story of the operation so secret it was classified for 70 years begins in the shadowy corridors of Allied intelligence during World War II. Unlike traditional battles fought on open fields or city streets, this mission unfolded in the unseen world of espionage, deception, and clandestine strategy. The soldiers involved were not just trained in combat, they were experts in navigation, sabotage, and intelligence gathering, selected for their ability to operate under extreme secrecy and pressure. Their identities, their objectives, and the true stakes of their mission were hidden even from most high-ranking officers, a level of secrecy almost unheard of during wartime. The operations planning stage was as meticulous as it was mysterious. The soldiers involved underwent rigorous training in the art of covert maneuvers, including nighttime navigation, silent communication, and techniques for avoiding detection by both enemy forces and unwitting civilians. Each member had a specific role, from intelligence officers who studied enemy fortifications, to engineers who prepared equipment and explosives, to communications specialists who ensured the operation remained invisible to enemy radar and intelligence networks. Coordination required absolute trust and precision, because any deviation could have jeopardized the mission, and possibly the lives of thousands of people. The secrecy of the mission extended beyond tactical preparation. Even the soldiers' personal lives were affected. Before deployment, they were given instructions that seemed strange, almost paranoid. Avoid discussing the operation with anyone. Maintain irregular routines to prevent being traced. And memorize entire routes and procedures rather than rely on written orders that could be intercepted. The mental burden was enormous. Many of these men knew they might never be able to tell their families what they were doing. The weight of such secrecy, combined with the knowledge that failure could have catastrophic consequences, created an intense psychological pressure unlike any conventional combat situation. The execution of the mission itself began under the cover of darkness. The soldiers were inserted into enemy territory using small, inconspicuous vehicles, sometimes traveling on foot across fields, forests, and treacherous terrain. Every step was calculated, every movement designed to avoid detection. Enemy patrols, sentries, and surveillance devices created a constant threat, and even the slightest misstep could lead to capture or death. In many ways, the mission resembled a high-stakes game of chess, with each soldier anticipating enemy moves and countering them with ingenuity and precision. One of the most remarkable aspects of this operation was the level of improvisation required in real time. Despite months of planning, unexpected variables such as sudden changes in enemy patrol patterns, shifting weather conditions, and equipment malfunctions forced the soldiers to adapt constantly. Leaders in the field had to make split-second decisions, weighing risks against the potential success of the mission. These decisions were often made without consulting superiors, as communication lines were limited to maintain secrecy. The success of the operation depended entirely on the courage, intelligence, and initiative of the soldiers on the ground. As the mission progressed, the soldiers encountered numerous challenges that tested both their physical endurance and mental resilience. Enemy checkpoints, booby traps, and misinformation campaigns were just a few of the hazards that threatened to derail the operation. In one instance, a small detachment had to cross a heavily patrolled river at night. Improvised rafts, silent paddling, and careful timing allowed them to pass undetected, but the tension was unbearable. Each heartbeat seemed amplified in the silence, and the fear of discovery was constant. Yet through meticulous training and sheer determination, they overcame each obstacle, demonstrating a rare combination of bravery and ingenuity. Another critical component of the operation involved acquiring sensitive intelligence. The soldiers were tasked with infiltrating enemy command centers and extracting information that could alter the course of future engagements. This was not a simple reconnaissance mission. They had to bypass heavily guarded installations, avoid detection from trained sentries, and ensure the integrity of the documents or equipment they retrieved. Each mission segment carried life or death stakes, and the soldiers had to rely on a combination of skill, intuition, and nerves of steel. Mistakes were not an option, as discovery could lead not only to their deaths, but also to the compromise of broader Allied operations. Perhaps the most astonishing aspect of this mission was the ingenuity employed in avoiding detection. The soldiers utilized disguises, misleading signals, and psychological tactics to confuse enemy forces. Fake radio transmissions, staged vehicle movements, and cleverly disguised supply caches created illusions of larger troop movements, diverting attention away from the real objectives. Even when under observation, the soldiers remained calm, blending into their surroundings, moving with purpose, and never revealing their true intentions. Their ability to manipulate the enemy's perception without ever engaging in direct confrontation was a testament to their skill and intelligence. Throughout the operation, the soldiers also had to maintain constant communication with command while minimizing the risk of interception. They employed coded messages, invisible ink, and highly secure radio channels to relay critical updates. These communications were vital, as they allowed commanders to adjust broader strategic plans in real time based on the intelligence gathered during the mission. Yet each transmission carried enormous risk, as detection could reveal the soldiers' positions and compromise the entire operation. The balance between sharing information and maintaining secrecy was delicate, and the soldiers executed it with near-perfect precision. As the mission reached its final phase, the soldiers faced the most dangerous segment, the enemy stronghold that contained the intelligence and strategic targets they had been assigned to neutralize. This area was heavily fortified and surrounded by advanced surveillance measures. The soldiers approached cautiously, using every trick and tactic learned in training. They avoided patrols, navigated through minefields, and disabled security systems silently. Every movement was a high-stakes gamble, and any misstep could have led to failure. Yet through careful planning, cooperation, and remarkable bravery, they achieved their objectives without detection or loss of life. Among their own ranks, the mission's success was staggering. The intelligence gathered, the positions neutralized, and the strategic advantage gained had a profound impact on the broader theater of the war. Yet the true measure of the operation's significance remained hidden for decades. The classified nature of the mission meant that even after the war, the soldiers involved could not speak of their achievements. Their heroism, sacrifices, and ingenuity remained invisible to the world, recorded only in classified files, locked away in secure archives. Families of the soldiers had no knowledge of the danger their loved ones had faced, and historians were unaware of the operation's pivotal role in the outcome of certain campaigns. Only decades later, as files were declassified and historians gained access to once secret records, the extraordinary story of the mission began to emerge. Scholars and military analysts were stunned by the complexity, precision, and audacity of the operation. It became clear that the soldiers had performed an almost impossible task, demonstrating a combination of courage, intelligence, and ethical restraint that set a new standard for military operations. Their actions reshaped historical understanding of certain campaigns and highlighted the untold human stories behind strategic victories. The operation also revealed the immense psychological burden carried by soldiers involved in classified missions. Years of silence, secrecy, and the knowledge that their sacrifices would remain unrecognized created an emotional weight that few could understand. Yet their dedication to duty, their commitment to comrades, and their belief in the larger cause allowed them to persevere. Their story is a reminder that heroism often goes unrecognized, and that the quiet courage of individuals can have an extraordinary impact on history, even when the world does not immediately know it. Ultimately, the operation, classified for 70 years, serves as a powerful illustration of the hidden dimensions of World War. While battles and overt campaigns dominate history books, covert missions like this one played a critical role in shaping the outcomes of the war. They reveal the remarkable bravery, ingenuity, and ethical commitment of the soldiers involved, and remind us that the human element, the courage to act under impossible circumstances, often determines the course of history as much as strategy or firepower. This mission, shrouded in secrecy for decades, now stands as a testament to the extraordinary feats that ordinary men can achieve when guided by courage, intelligence, and an unwavering sense of duty. The soldier's story teaches us that heroism is not always about glory or recognition. Sometimes it is about the quiet, unseen acts that change the course of events, save countless lives, and shape history from the shadows. The legacy of this operation continues to inspire modern military strategy and ethical discussions about warfare, intelligence, and human resilience. It reminds us that in every conflict, there are untold stories of valor, sacrifice, and brilliant stories that only come to light decades later, revealing the full scale of human courage and ingenuity in times of war. As the operation entered its most perilous phase, the soldiers were forced to navigate a landscape that was as treacherous as it was unfamiliar. Dense forests, crumbling bridges, and flooded trenches challenged every step of their advance. But the team's training and discipline allowed them to move forward with calculated precision. Each soldier had memorized the terrain, possible enemy patrol routes, and contingency plans, ensuring that every move could be executed without compromising secrecy. Even a single misstep could have triggered an alert that would unravel months of planning, placing both the mission and their lives in jeopardy. The psychological demands on the soldiers were extraordinary. Operating in total secrecy, they could not rely on external reinforcement or public support. Each decision had immediate consequences, and the weight of responsibility rested squarely on their shoulders. Night operations became a test of nerves, as they silently navigated fields and forests under the constant threat of enemy detection. The tension was palpable, with every snapped twig, glint of moonlight, or distant sound potentially signaling danger. Yet, the soldiers learned to move as one, using subtle signals and shared intuition to maintain cohesion and avoid detection. The operation's intelligence component was critical, requiring infiltration of enemy positions that were heavily fortified and monitored. Soldiers were tasked with gathering sensitive documents, sabotaging key installations, and collecting vital information about enemy troop movements. Each of these tasks carried immense risk, demanding a careful balance between speed and caution. The soldiers relied on cutting-edge techniques for the time: silent entry methods, improvised tools for bypassing locks and alarms, and the use of disguises to blend seamlessly into the environment. Precision was everything. One wrong move could compromise the mission and lead to fatal consequences. One of the most dangerous elements of the mission involved crossing areas, patrolled by elite enemy units trained to detect and eliminate intruders. The soldiers had to anticipate every potential threat, adapting their movements to avoid detection while still achieving objectives. In several instances, they used misdirection, staging decoys to draw enemy attention away from critical paths. Smoke, noise, and even false tracks created illusions of activity that allowed them to move unseen. The creativity and courage required for these maneuvers were extraordinary, as any lapse could have led to immediate capture or death. Despite the intense danger, the soldiers maintained a remarkable sense of discipline and focus. Their cohesion as a unit was critical, as each member depended on the others to execute complex maneuvers under high stress. Communication had to be precise and silent, often relying on hand signals or subtle gestures. Any miscommunication could be catastrophic. Yet through rigorous training and shared trust, the team moved with near-perfect synchronization. Their ability to act as a single organism under extreme conditions was a testament to their preparation and the leadership guiding them. As the mission reached key strategic objectives, the soldiers had to navigate urban areas, heavily defended checkpoints, and fortified bunkers. Each environment presented unique challenges. In urban zones, the risk of civilian detection added a new layer of complexity. Every movement had to avoid alarming local populations while maintaining secrecy from enemy forces. At fortified positions, the soldiers used ingenuity and improvisation to bypass defenses, relying on stealth, timing, and knowledge of enemy routines. These moments tested both their courage and tactical acumen to the fullest. One particularly harrowing phase involved intercepting and retrieving highly sensitive documents from a central enemy command post. The documents contained plans that, if successfully captured, would significantly influence Allied strategy. The soldiers had to disable security systems silently, avoid detection from armed guards, and ensure the integrity of the intelligence. Every decision had to be made in real time, balancing speed against caution. In this high-pressure environment, the soldiers demonstrated extraordinary discipline, courage, and resourcefulness, achieving what many thought impossible without alerting the enemy. Throughout the operation, environmental hazards compounded the danger. Soldiers traversed rain-soaked terrain, frozen rivers, and steep hills, often under extreme weather conditions. These elements not only slowed progress, but also increased the risk of mistakes. Cold exhaustion and hunger were constant challenges. Yet the soldiers persevered, motivated by both duty and the understanding that failure could have catastrophic consequences. Their resilience in the face of physical and mental strain was as impressive as their tactical achievements. The ethical dimension of the operation added another layer of complexity. Despite the risks and high stakes, those soldiers were committed to minimizing civilian casualties and avoiding unnecessary destruction. Their focus was on completing objectives with precision and discretion, demonstrating that morality and military success were not mutually exclusive. This conscientious approach distinguished the operation from many conventional wartime engagements, highlighting the soldiers' integrity as well as their skill as the mission neared its conclusion. The soldiers faced the final challenge: extraction from enemy territory, while ensuring that no evidence of their presence remained. This phase required absolute coordination, as any mistake could reveal the operation and endanger the entire team. They employed misdirection, camouflage, and careful timing to slip back through patrolled areas, crossing rivers, forests, and fields as silently as when they entered. The successful extraction underscored the meticulous planning, training, and execution that had characterized every stage of the operation. The aftermath of the operation highlighted the extraordinary secrecy that had been maintained. For 70 years, the mission remained classified, with only select military officials aware of its success. Soldiers involved were sworn to silence, unable to share their experiences even with family members. The world remained unaware of the critical intelligence they had secured and the strategic advantage they had provided. It was only decades later, when classified files were finally released, that the full scale of the operation became known, revealing both the daring of the soldiers and the profound impact of their actions on the broader course of World War II. Historians who later examined the operation were stunned by its precision, audacity, and significance. They marveled at the soldiers' ability to achieve objectives under extreme secrecy, in enemy territory, and with minimal risk to themselves or civilians. The operation became a case study in effective covert military strategy, demonstrating that intelligence, skill, and moral judgment can determine the outcome of critical engagements as much as brute force. The soldiers' courage, ingenuity, and restraint continue to inspire military planners and scholars, highlighting the hidden dimensions of warfare where the unseen efforts of a few can have profound consequences. Ultimately, the operation, classified for 70 years, stands as a testament to human courage, ingenuity, and discipline. It demonstrates how a small group of individuals, working under impossible conditions with extraordinary secrecy, can achieve results that alter the course of history. Their story reminds us that heroism is not always visible, and that the quiet, unseen acts of bravery and intelligence can have an impact as significant as the most famous battles. The soldiers who undertook this mission exemplify the highest ideals of dedication, skill, and ethical courage in wartime, leaving a legacy that continues to resonate decades later. The story also serves as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made by those who operate in secrecy. While their names and deeds may remain unknown to the world for years, their actions shape the course of events in ways that are immeasurable. These soldiers exemplify the virtues of courage, loyalty, and integrity, proving that even in the most clandestine and dangerous missions, human determination and ethical action can achieve the extraordinary. This extended main content captures the tension, danger, and extraordinary skill involved in an operation so secret it remained classified for 70 years, highlighting the bravery, intelligence, and moral fortitude of the soldiers who carried it out. Asterisk. The operation reached its most critical stage as the soldiers approached the enemy's stronghold, the nerve center of their mission. Months of planning, reconnaissance, and training had led to this moment, where every decision, every movement, and every breath carried the weight of life and death. This was not a conventional battlefield. It was a landscape of shadows, secret pathways, and unseen hazards. The soldiers moved as one unit, communicating silently through hand signals, subtle gestures, and prearranged cues. The tension was suffocating, but their focus remained unbroken. Each man understood the stakes. Failure would not only mean the end of the mission, but could lead to catastrophic consequences for the broader, Allied war effort. As they neared the core of the enemy installation, the soldiers encountered obstacles that were far more formidable than any training exercise. Mines concealed under dirt and debris threatened every step, while motion-sensitive alarms and sentries created a deadly grid that had to be bypassed with precision. Improvisation became essential. A small detachment used mirrors to redirect light, fooling guards into believing corridors were empty. Another team improvised a pulley system to quietly remove obstacles in their path. Every action was calculated, every risk weighed against the potential outcome. The combination of careful planning and on-spot ingenuity was the key to navigating this deadly labyrinth. The heart of the mission was the extraction of critical intelligence. In the command center, documents, maps, and coded messages lay under heavy guard. The soldiers had to disable locks, bypass alarm systems, and extract these materials without alerting anyone. Time was against them, as the longer they remained in the facility, the higher the risk of detection. Every movement had to be deliberate, yet swift, balancing stealth with urgency. The men worked in perfect coordination, each step rehearsed and refined, yet adaptable to the unpredictability of the moment. A single error could set off a chain reaction, leading to the failure of the mission and potential capture or death. While inside the stronghold, the soldiers encountered unexpected resistance. A patrol entered the corridor near their position, forcing them to hide in the shadows, hearts pounding as footsteps echoed past. They held their breath, listening to the enemy's movements, calculating the exact moment they could continue without detection. This was the essence of the operation's tension. Success depended not on brute force, but on nerve, intellect, and absolute composure. In those moments, the soldiers' training, courage, and trust in one another were tested to their limits as they retrieved the intelligence. They discovered additional enemy plans that were far more extensive than initially anticipated. The documents revealed not only troop movements and supply routes, but also strategic plans that could have altered the course of multiple campaigns. The magnitude of their findings underscored the importance of their mission, intensifying both the excitement and the pressure. Every step now carried double weight. The risk of being discovered increased, and the value of the intelligence meant that any error could have disastrous consequences. Extraction presented its own set of challenges. The soldiers had to retrace their steps through a labyrinth of patrolled corridors, booby traps, and surveillance points, all while carrying sensitive documents and equipment. Miscommunication could lead to immediate detection, yet they moved with a precision born of exhaustive preparation. Improvised diversions were set to confuse the enemy. Small noises drew guards away. Temporary obstacles created the illusion of activity elsewhere, and decoy routes misled enemy surveillance. These tactics required coordination, timing, and unshakable calm under pressure. The psychological strain was immense. Soldiers were operating under near constant threat, knowing that capture could mean torture, imprisonment, or death. Sleep deprivation, hunger, and stress compounded the difficulty, yet each man maintained focus. Leadership within the unit was critical. Field commanders had to make instantaneous decisions, weighing risks, reading enemy behavior, and anticipating the consequences of every action. The courage required was not the dramatic heroics of open combat, but a quiet, steadfast resolve that allowed them to navigate danger with skill and lashed intelligence. As they approached the final phase of the mission, the soldiers were faced with the need to cross a heavily guarded zone to reach extraction points. Enemy reinforcements had increased patrols in anticipation of potential sabotage, making stealth even more crucial. The soldiers executed a series of coordinated maneuvers, synchronized movements, timed pauses, and the use of terrain for cover. Forests, abandoned buildings, and natural obstacles were utilized to maintain concealment. They had to move quickly, yet silently, aware that any misstep could result in death or mission failure. A critical moment arose when an unexpected enemy patrol blocked their primary route. With time running out and reinforcements approaching, the soldiers had to improvise. One team created a diversion by setting off a controlled noise in a nearby sector, drawing the patrol away. Meanwhile, the rest of the unit slipped through a narrow passageway, using shadows and natural cover to avoid detection. The tension was unbearable. The slightest miscalculation could have compromised everything. Yet their training, coordination, and calm under pressure allowed them to succeed. The extraction of the final intelligence. Packages required equally meticulous planning. Documents were secured, equipment was dismantled and concealed, and contingency plans were activated in case of detection. The soldiers maintained constant awareness of enemy positions, adjusting their routes in real time. Their movements resembled a choreographed performance, each step calculated, precise, and deliberate. The combination of strategy, courage, and improvisation ensured that the mission objectives were met without alerting the enemy. Once outside, the immediate danger zone. The soldiers faced the challenge of returning to friendly lines. Even at this stage, the operation was far from over. Enemy checkpoints, patrols, and surveillance continued to pose threats. The soldiers had to navigate long stretches of open terrain, crossing fields, rivers, and roads under the cover of darkness. They used every trick at their disposal: camouflage, decoys, silent signals, and careful timing. Fatigue and stress were constant companions, yet they persevered. Driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option, the culmination of the mission was a tense rendezvous at the extraction point. Allied vehicles, prepositioned under strict secrecy, awaited the soldiers to transport them and the intelligence safely back to headquarters. Coordination was key. The timing had to be exact, and the approach had to avoid enemy detection. As the soldiers reached the rendezvous, the tension that had gripped them for days slowly began to lift. Every man knew that the success of the operation was due to their skill, courage, and unwavering discipline. The operation's success was monumental. The intelligence gathered, the strategic advantages secured, and the enemy's perception of their strength were all profoundly impacted by the soldiers' actions. Yet the mission remained classified for 70 years. Even the soldiers involved could not speak of their heroism, the dangers they faced, or the ingenuity they employed. Their story, though hidden, would later emerge as a testament to the courage, intelligence, and resilience required to carry out one of the most audacious secret missions of World War II. Historians who eventually studied the operation were astonished by its complexity, precision, and significance. It was clear that the soldiers' bravery and ingenuity had altered the course of events, preventing potential losses and securing critical advantages. The operation stood as a remarkable example of how human courage, strategy, and ethical decision-making could combine to achieve extraordinary results, even under the most dangerous and secretive conditions. Ultimately, the climax of this classified operation demonstrates the extraordinary capacity of individuals to achieve the impossible. The soldiers' courage, discipline, and intelligence ensured that an operation once shrouded in secrecy succeeded beyond expectation, leaving a legacy of heroism and ingenuity that continues to inspire and inform modern military strategy. In the shadows of history, they proved that even the most clandestine missions, carried out under extreme risk, can change the course of a war, and that true heroism often remains unseen for decades. The operation had reached its most critical and dangerous phase. Months of preparation, intelligence gathering, and training were culminating in a moment where every decision would determine the mission's success or catastrophic failure. The soldiers moved silently through the shadowed terrain, their senses sharpened to the smallest sound or movement. Every rustle of leaves, distant footstep, and glint of moonlight carried potential danger. This was not a conventional battlefield. It was a chessboard where each move had to be perfectly calculated, and the consequences of failure were unthinkable. As they approached the core of the enemy stronghold, the soldiers were confronted with obstacles more formidable than any they had encountered during training. Mines and booby traps were scattered across their paths, while motion-sensitive alarms and roaming sentries created a deadly web. Improvisation became essential. One team used mirrors to redirect beams of light from the facility's searchlights, creating shadows that concealed their movements. Another set up decoy noises to draw guards away from critical pathways. Every decision was a delicate balance of risk and necessity, requiring split-second judgment and absolute trust among team members. Inside the enemy compound, the soldiers faced their most critical task: obtaining intelligence that could alter the course of World War II campaigns. The documents they sought were stored in a heavily guarded command center, protected by armed personnel, alarms, and reinforced locks. The team moved like phantoms, disabling locks silently and bypassing alarm systems with improvised tools. Their hands shook with tension, but the focus of their training kept them precise and deliberate. Time was against them, and every second spent inside the facility increased the risk of discovery. Yet, through meticulous planning, courage, and extraordinary skill, they achieved their goal, securing critical documents and equipment. The enemy's unexpected activity added further tension. Patrols shifted their routes unpredictably, forcing the soldiers to adapt on the fly. In one tense moment, a group of guards passed just meters from the soldiers' position. They pressed themselves into the shadows, holding their breath as the footsteps echoed past. The seconds stretched into an eternity, and even the most seasoned soldier could feel the fear creeping in. But each man's training, experience, and trust in his comrades allowed them to maintain composure and continue the mission undetected. The intelligence obtained was far more extensive than initially anticipated. It revealed detailed troop movements, supply lines, and future operational plans, giving the Allied forces a significant strategic advantage. The realization of the document's value intensified the pressure. The soldiers knew that extraction without detection was paramount, and that any mistake could lead to their deaths and compromise the entire operation. Every step of the retreat had to be planned with precision equal to the advance. Extraction was fraught with danger. The team retraced their steps through treacherous terrain, avoiding patrols, tripwires, and surveillance devices. Improvised diversions were employed. Controlled noises, fake footprints, and decoy movements misled enemy forces. The soldiers had to remain constantly alert, using every ounce of training and intuition to navigate the perilous path back to friendly lines. The operation demanded more than physical endurance. It required unwavering mental fortitude and tactical genius. At one point, an unexpected patrol blocked their primary escape route. With time critical and enemy reinforcements approaching, the soldiers had to act immediately. One detachment created a diversion by setting off a carefully timed noise in a nearby sector, drawing attention away from the escape route. Simultaneously, the main team slipped through narrow alleyways, using shadows and natural cover to remain unseen. The margin for error was infinitesimal. A single misstep could spell disaster. Yet through coordination, ingenuity, and courage, they succeeded. Continuing their retreat without detection, the journey to the extraction point was further complicated by environmental challenges. Soldiers traversed flooded fields, dense forests, and steep inclines under extreme conditions. Exhaustion, cold, and hunger gnawed at them. But the knowledge that the mission's success depended on their perseverance pushed them onward. Each step demanded careful calculation: how to move silently, how to remain hidden, and how to manage the heavy weight of equipment and intelligence. Their resilience under these conditions was as extraordinary as the strategic brilliance of their actions. As they neared the extraction site, tension peaked. Enemy patrols had intensified, and the soldiers were now operating under extreme fatigue and constant risk. The final stretch required absolute precision. Any hesitation, noise, or miscommunication could reveal their presence. Using signals they had rehearsed countless times, the team coordinated their approach. Each member moved with synchronized timing, navigating the terrain like a single organism in perfect harmony. The extraction vehicles were in position, but the last meters remained the most dangerous. The soldiers' ingenuity was evident in the final moments. Improvised smokescreens masked their approach, while decoy movements in surrounding sectors diverted enemy attention. They employed every trick in their repertoire, from camouflage techniques to silent communication, to ensure they reached safety. The tension was overwhelming, but the combination of discipline, training, and sheer determination allowed them to succeed. They reached the extraction point, loading the intelligence and equipment into vehicles without incident. The operation that had seemed nearly impossible was now complete, a testament to human courage, skill, and ingenuity. The aftermath of the mission was marked by secrecy and silence. For 70 years, the soldiers could not speak of their actions, even as the world moved forward, unaware of the operation's existence. The men bore the memory of danger, ingenuity, and near impossible accomplishment. Historians later marveling at the operation were astounded by the level of planning, coordination, and bravery required. The soldiers' actions had not only secured vital intelligence but had also prevented potential losses and turned the tide in critical strategic campaigns. The operation's success demonstrated more than tactical brilliance, highlighted the extraordinary psychological resilience of the soldiers, operating under total secrecy, constantly facing life-threatening danger, and carrying the burden of responsibility for the lives of countless others. They exemplified the highest standards of military discipline and personal courage. Their ability to remain calm under pressure, to improvise solutions in real time, and to maintain ethical conduct in the midst of extreme danger set this mission apart as one of the most remarkable covert operations in World War II history. Ultimately, the operation, classified for 70 years, serves as a powerful illustration of how individual courage, intelligence, and ethical commitment can influence the course of history. The soldiers involved risked everything, acting with precision, bravery, and ingenuity to accomplish what seemed impossible. Their story, once hidden, now stands as a testament to the unseen dimensions of warfare, where the quiet actions of a few can have monumental consequences. Through courage, discipline, and unwavering focus, these men achieved the extraordinary, leaving a legacy of heroism that continues to inspire military strategists, historians, and anyone who studies the resilience of the human spirit. The extended climax of this operation captures the tension, danger, and extraordinary skill required for the soldiers to succeed. It demonstrates the ultimate test of their abilities, facing unpredictable threats, overcoming impossible odds, and achieving objectives with precision and courage under extreme secrecy. This is the moment where planning, training, and bravery converged to produce a result that would remain hidden for decades, but ultimately change history. The operation that had been classified for 70 years stands as a remarkable testament to human courage, discipline, and ingenuity. Its success was the culmination of months of meticulous planning, intelligence gathering, and rigorous training, all of which had prepared a small team of soldiers for an unprecedented mission. These men were not ordinary soldiers. They were selected for their skills, resilience, and ability to operate under extreme stress. Their mission required them to enter enemy territory in total secrecy, navigate treacherous terrain, bypass heavily fortified positions, and extract intelligence that could change the course of World War II. Every phase of the operation tested their mental and physical limits, demanding a combination of courage, strategy, and ethical judgment that few could match. From the very beginning, the soldiers understood the stakes. Their mission was not only dangerous but unprecedented in its scale and complexity. Operating behind enemy lines meant that detection would likely result in immediate death or capture, and the consequences of failure extended far beyond their own lives. They had to maintain absolute secrecy, moving as shadows through forests, fields, and fortified installations. Each decision, from the smallest step to the coordination of large maneuvers, was informed by extensive intelligence and strategic foresight. Their training had prepared them for such moments, but the real test was applying knowledge under extreme pressure. With lives and critical intelligence hanging in the balance, the operation demonstrated an extraordinary level of tactical innovation. Soldiers employed creative solutions to navigate obstacles, evade patrols, and bypass defenses. Mirrors redirected light from searchlights, decoys misled guards, and improvised tools disabled locks and alarms. Every innovation was born from necessity, reflecting the soldiers' ability to think under pressure and adapt to the unpredictable realities of war. The mission demanded not only physical courage, but also mental agility, as split-second decisions often determined success or failure. It was this combination of ingenuity and bravery that allowed them to infiltrate heavily guarded enemy positions undetected, gather crucial intelligence, and ultimately complete their objectives beyond technical skill. The operation revealed the extraordinary psychological resilience of the soldiers. For days on end, they endured extreme stress, sleep deprivation, and environmental hardships, including harsh weather, difficult terrain, and scarcity of food. The constant threat of detection created an ever-present tension. Yet each soldier maintained focus, relying on training, trust in comrades, and sheer willpower. Their ability to manage fear and perform with precision under such conditions speaks to the exceptional nature of their character. They did not act recklessly. Every move was calculated, every risk weighed against the potential consequences. This blend of courage and discipline was central to the mission's success. The intelligence gathered during the operation proved invaluable. It included detailed enemy plans, troop movements, and strategic information that had the potential to alter entire campaigns. Securing these documents was not a simple task. It required infiltration of the enemy command center, bypassing guards, and extracting sensitive material under extreme pressure. The soldiers demonstrated remarkable foresight and coordination, ensuring that nothing was left behind and no trace of their presence remained. This careful attention to detail highlighted both their professionalism and their understanding of the broader implications of their actions. The ethical dimension of the mission also stands out. Despite operating in enemy territory under extreme risk, the soldiers took care to minimize civilian impact and avoid unnecessary destruction. Their focus was on achieving strategic objectives while maintaining a moral standard, demonstrating that intelligence operations could be conducted with integrity. This balance of ethical consideration and operational effectiveness distinguishes this operation from many conventional military engagements, where the pressures of war often lead to disregard for collateral damage. The soldiers' commitment to ethical conduct under such conditions underscores their preux scare. Extraction, one of the most dangerous phases of the operation, required flawless execution. The soldiers had to retrace their steps through treacherous terrain, evade heightened enemy patrols, and deliver the intelligence safely to Allied forces. Improvised diversions, camouflage, and precise coordination allowed them to navigate these challenges. The final rendezvous with extraction vehicles marked the culmination of their efforts. Yet even then, vigilance remained critical. Any lapse could have undone the success of months of planning. The seamless coordination and unwavering composure of the soldiers during this phase underscore the exceptional level of skill and bravery involved. The operation's secrecy, maintained for 70 years, speaks to its significance and the trust placed in the soldiers. They carried the burden of this secret silently, often unable to share their experiences even with family members. This long period of secrecy ensured that the mission's impact was only fully understood decades later. Once classified files were released and historians could examine the operation in detail, the delayed recognition does not diminish their heroism. If anything, it amplifies it, as they undertook immense risks without hope of immediate recognition or reward. When historians finally studied the operation, they were struck by its complexity, precision, and the extraordinary courage of the soldiers. It was evident that their actions had not only secured critical intelligence, but also prevented potential losses and provided strategic advantages that may have altered the trajectory of World War II campaigns. The operation became a case study in military strategy, demonstrating the effectiveness of covert operations conducted with meticulous planning, ethical consideration, and extraordinary bravery. The soldiers' actions are now recognized as among the most remarkable feats of intelligence and military execution of the war. Ultimately, This operation serves as a timeless example of human courage and ingenuity. The soldiers risked everything, operating under the most extreme conditions with precision, discipline, and ethical awareness. They proved that small teams, acting with skill and intelligence, can achieve outcomes that reshape history. Their story reminds us that heroism is not always visible on the battlefield. Sometimes it occurs in silence, in secrecy, and under conditions that test every limit of human endurance. The bravery, ingenuity, and ethical courage displayed by these soldiers stand as a legacy, inspiring current and future generations to understand that heroism often manifests in the unseen actions that protect and shape the world. Even decades later, the lessons of this mission continue to resonate. Military strategists, historians, and scholars study the operation to understand how small, disciplined, and intelligent units can achieve disproportionate impact. The mission illustrates the importance of preparation, adaptability, courage, and moral judgment in achieving success under extreme conditions. It is a reminder that the course of history is not always determined by large battles and obvious victories. Often it is shaped by the calculated, courageous, and intelligent actions of a few individuals working in secrecy. The soldiers' legacy extends beyond their military success. Their ability to operate under extreme secrecy, maintain ethical standards, and achieve objectives despite immense risk offers a model of leadership, courage, and teamwork. Their story demonstrates that success in extreme conditions is not solely a matter of strategy or strength, but also of integrity, resilience, and human ingenuity. As the world finally recognized the magnitude of their accomplishments, the operation stood as a testament to the extraordinary capabilities of ordinary humans when faced with extraordinary challenges. In conclusion, the 70-year classified operation embodies the highest ideals of wartime heroism: courage under fire, precision in execution, ethical conduct, and extraordinary ingenuity. The soldiers involved risked life and limb to gather intelligence that changed the course of World War II. And yet, their contributions remained hidden from the world for decades. Their actions remind us that the most significant acts of heroism are often unseen, that strategic brilliance can be executed quietly, and that the human spirit is capable of extraordinary resilience and creativity in the face of danger. These soldiers' story will forever remain a testament to what can be achieved through courage, intelligence, and unwavering commitment to a mission greater than oneself. The operation that remained classified for 70 years is a breathtaking testament to human courage, ingenuity, and resilience. A small team of soldiers risked everything to infiltrate enemy territory, navigate deadly obstacles, and extract intelligence that could alter the course of World War II. Their mission demanded precision, creativity, and absolute composure under extreme pressure. From bypassing fortified defenses to improvising solutions in real time, their actions showcased a blend of tactical brilliance, psychological endurance, and ethical commitment that few could ever match. The intelligence they secured proved invaluable, revealing enemy plans, troop movements, and strategies that could have changed entire campaigns. Yet the soldiers carried this secret alone for decades, demonstrating selflessness and dedication far beyond the call of duty. Their story reminds us that heroism often goes unseen, and the most impactful actions are not always the ones visible on battlefields, but those carried out silently with precision and courage. In the shadows, this incredible mission exemplifies how preparation, teamwork, and determination can overcome even the most impossible odds. It highlights that ordinary individuals, when united by purpose and trained with discipline, can achieve extraordinary results that shape history. For modern audiences, this story is not just a lesson in military strategy, it is an inspiring testament to human perseverance, intelligence, and the quiet, unseen heroism that changes the world. If you were amazed by the bravery, ingenuity, and resilience of these soldiers. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from World War II. Hit the like button if you were inspired by their courage. And share this video with friends who appreciate real stories of heroism. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new story that uncovers the hidden heroes and untold moments of World War II.